Lorelei forced herself to keep on running. Faster, faster. All she knew was that she had to get away from Dirk Tyrrell, from this man whose very nearness shook her like a bird in a cage. It was useless telling herself he was vile and despicable, that the kiss he'd forced upon her was repellent. For the truth was...
Lorelei!
...that she loved him.
You little fool.
It was up to me, I'd know.
She barely remembered the darkness as she fell, but then his arms were round her like steel bands, the musky smell of his skin deranging all her senses.
Nick, hi, it's me. Look, I know you're busy, but the estate agent's just rung and said they've got someone else interested in the house. Yeah, I know they probably are, but it could be true, so I don't think we should risk it. I think we need to put an offer in now. Yeah, hang on a second.
Oh, interesting reading material.
Not reading it, I teach it. Sorry, it's 079. No.
Good morning, M&J Autos. Sorry, he's not here at the Min. Can I take a message?
Mr. Shaw, you said to remind you I'm off early today, taking my mum to the hospital.
What's that then?
Quiet?
I got even out, didn't I? 2 sugars in man, yeah? Love?
Saturday, we walked on the Heath and visited a gallery before dining with friends. Octavia and her husband have been wonderful hosts. There really has not been a dull moment.
And Charles Boon, the real reason you went to London, has he...
He will, Father. I'm sure of it. I think he feels he must have something to offer me first.
He has nothing to offer?
Oh, yes. He has so much. He's passionate and funny and fearless, and yet so curiously full of self-doubt, and blessedly different to all those other wretched snobs. Charles and his friend Gerald are setting up a publishing company. They've called it Mills Boon.
Very well then, Charles, we're agreed. We will publish as widely as possible, and I will take charge of... Are you sure we haven't stolen half of Methuen in the move?
Bastards would deserve it if I had.
I'm surprised you didn't after the way they treated you.
Well, it may interest you to know that they will shortly announce their decision to float the company on the stock exchange. So we certainly chose the right moment to go into competition.
How do you know that?
I know everything, Charles. I thought that's why you went into business with me. So, I will run the educational list, commissioning top university men to write textbooks we can place at Eton, Harrow, Sandhurst.
See? He does know everything. Ones they've got are out of date. Get textbooks right and they'll sell for years.
And you will take charge of fiction, marketing, and swearing at the upper classes. Though preferably not in front of Joseph.
Oh, I don't mind, Mr. Mills.
Initially pursuing prominent authors you worked with at Methuen.
Yeah, but we publish at a price that everyone can afford. Right, none of this pricing out of reach of the man on the street.
I'm afraid the economics don't support that, Charles. Established authors cost a premium, and we must price the books accordingly if we're to turn a profit. If you bring me another financing model, I will look at it.
Let's just hope you're right. I can persuade the big boys to sign with us.
I have complete faith in you. Just trust your instincts.
Right then. Better get to it. A couple of mountains to climb.
This term, we come to the final part of the Romantic Literature module, the 20th century, subtitled Women, Culture and Female Desire, which brings us to the romance novels of Mills and Boon. Not exactly what you'd call literature, but they sell 200 million a year worldwide. Exactly. Bigger than Harry Potter, so I suppose we have to look at them. So what is it about these books that allows them to transcend national boundaries and those of class, culture, race, religion, and age? Because the reality is that these books are read by women aged 25 to 65, and frighteningly, many of them are university educated. So, are they simply the lowest common denominator, formulaic pulp that exert dangerous social control by reinforcing that a woman's only ambition should be to ensnare herself a man? Or could they be feminist? Books for, by, and about women that give female authors a substantial enough income to be independent, and that can also...
I thought you were joking. You're not doing the romantic poets, Wordsworth, Coleridge.
We were, until today. But if you're going to join us so late in the course, Mr.
Jack. Ainsley.
If you're going to join us so late in the course, Mr. Ainsley, then I'm afraid you're just going to have
To do this shit, yeah, fair enough.
Well, you may very well think they're shit, but you'll have to express that opinion in 4,000 words if you want to pass this module. Or if you're not interested, then...
Oh, no. I'm interested.
In the early part of the century, we'll be examining various authors, but from the 70s onwards, we'll be focusing on one writer particularly, Raquel Pretty, whose novels defined the genre and who wrote over 400 books. So, Mills and Boon books do not represent real life. Discuss.
Dear God, Lorelei, Dirk murmured. Don't you know what you've done to me?
I'm in love with you.
Love? Lorelei uttered an involuntary ejaculation. More than that, he breathed.
I want to marry you.
And as he cupped her face and parted her lips, Lorelei felt happiness crash inside her like a tidal wave.
Take it slowly. Catch more things in hospital than they get rid of. I'm running up trade.
We've got some chairs here.
Oh, just sit down. It's really plain.
Lovely, Mrs. Jacob. Thank you. We'll see you in a month's time. Hello. Elsie Bottomley. We've got an appointment for X-ray and then to see Dr. Grant. Excuse me. Could you tell me where I should go? Have you got an appointment? Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Grant. I'll be performing your hip replacement operation. Yes, you can see the head of the bone is completely destroyed, so I'll cut in here, slice off the dead matter, and insert the extra hip with
Johnny,
two...
what is he saying?
Doctor,
We haven't been told exactly what's going to happen.
General anaesthetic will be administered. I'll make an incision from here to access the hip. The operation will take 3 hours, and its success will depend on the patient's weight. Good.
What does he mean, me weight?
Dr. Grant. Is there... She's not going to die, is she?
Well, there's always a risk. It's a surgical procedure. There's a 1% chance of fatality. But I have saved a great many more lives than I have lost.
We couldn't wait any longer to give Sophie a little bit of champagne, Charles.
Oh, no, Margaret, that's fine. You've seen the book, have you, Sophie? Pleased with it?
I must say, I feel rather honoured being first in the queue to be published by you. When a little birdie told me you've tempted P.G. Woodhouse into the fold.
Have you really?
It's all to Charles's credit, as you know. My efforts are rather more confined to the prosaic accounts, contracts, and the Poultry Keeper's Companion to be published next month, into which I'm sure you will all beat a path to purchase a copy.
And that's not all the good news either, is it, Charles?
Oh, no. Jack London's leaving Heinemann and also coming our way.
Jack London? Well, now that would be something. Jack London wrote The Call of the Wild, darling.
I know who he is. Would you excuse me?
I must say, when you said you had good news, Mary, I thought for a moment that Charles had popped the question.
I'd rather think she'd have to turn herself into a book for that to happen.
We've been outbid on Woodhouse. It's all coming crashing down already. Jenkins bid more for his next book. So we've got The Prince and Betty, then it's curtains.
Well, it's not exactly surprising, Charles. They were hardly going to give him up without a fight.
So what's the point in chasing the big names at all, then? If the heavyweights just get them back and we've done our money. Mills and Boon can't keep their writers. Cocky new boys on the ropes. Publicity cuts both ways, Gerald. That's the rub of it.
Jack London's the bigger prize, and he'll stay with us because he likes you. You must pace yourself, Charles. I have great faith in you.
Well, it's misplaced then, isn't it? I can't raise the money to pay for my shares. I've tried, but I've let you down. You and Mary.
Don't lose hope, Charles. You'll think of something.
Charles, I've been thinking. I should like to buy some shares. I should like to buy some shares in your company, if I may. If that would be... I mean...
Oh, Mary. Mary Cowp, you utter beauty!
From here to here.
Dr. Grant strode into the room with... He had a brooding quality. She noticed him the moment he walked in. He had a brooding quality like a tiger on the prowl. Nurse Violetta Kiss was standing at reception. She wasn't the most striking girl, but she had white marble